They're going to score 40-plus points on the Rams, and then the Seahawks are going to just cement themselves top 5 offense in the NFL this season.
Sometimes we don't consider how good of a deal we have Geno Smith on. He is not one of these guys who's getting paid $30-40 million a year, but he kind of played like it last year.
You're listening to the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. Two brothers, George and Sammy, talk all things Seattle sports. Also, NBA. Please bring back our Supersonics.
Welcome on into the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. Two brothers, car talk version, because we didn't have the time to do it at home. Welcome to Seattle on Tap. I'm Sammy on Tap.
I'm George on Tap.
And big day, big weekend. It's Blue Friday. George has his Seahawks shirt on, his green Seahawks shirt.
There is blue. There's some blue accent in there.
I have a blue Seattle sports shirt on, but it's Mariners. But all in all, we're ready. Unfortunately, we're not in our usual setup. Our father's in the hospital. No big deal. It's probably pneumonia. He's coming out maybe today, but that's why we had to do a little car talk.
Yeah.
Who knows, though? It's kind of a cool setup.
Yeah, and not just that, Sammy, but let's just tell people how illegal we are. We're actually parked under shade right now. Doctor parking only, but we have a PhD in Seattle Seahawks football, so I guess that counts as being a doctor.
A nice little doctorate degree there. And two people just walked by. Their first appearance on the podcast.
Yeah, congratulations to those people's cameos.
Let's rock. Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, I guess that's all we're going to talk about today is Week 1 football. I do have something to mention about the Detroit Lions, too, because I think we played them Week 2, right? And that's,
Week 2, yep.
That's going to be a serious game. It was one of the most exciting games last year. But all in all, George, football is back. It's really nice to see some non-preseason football on the horizon.
Yeah, no, it's great. Actually, last night, speaking of the Lions, you said you wanted to mention them. I was telling you, I'm really glad they won because I said I don't think the Lions can go 0-2 to start the season. So with them winning, now I kind of feel like the Seahawks actually have a bigger chance to win. I know it has nothing to do with it, but just mentally, I'm like, the Lions aren't going to start 0-2, but could they start 1-1? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, actually, because there's a lot of teams. Whoever has the Chiefs Week 2, I'm actually not sure. Who is it?
I don't know, but there's no way. The Jaguars.
Is it the Jaguars?
Yeah.
Okay, Jaguars are losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like the Patriots of the early 2000s going 0-2. It's just not happening. So when you're a team like the Jaguars, what you really hope for is a Chiefs win Week 1, so there's some more reasonable action for a loss.
Exactly.
That was a good point that you made, because Detroit, for as good as they're supposed to be, is not losing 2 in a row. So them beating the Chiefs, you also can get a team on a way too big of a high. Exactly. If the Seahawks beat the Rams, it's not like a shocker. They're 7-point favorites almost.
Yeah, is it 7 or 5.5 last night?
It was 6.5 when I checked.
Oh, okay.
When I did my pick'em.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
They're very high. They're one of the biggest favorites of the week.
Yeah, we're gonna beat the Rams.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are gonna be poopy butthole this year.
Poopy butthole.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna live on that one. The Rams are gonna be poopy butthole this year. George, I guess you said they're going to be poopy butthole. Why are they going to be poopy butthole, and what's going to happen in Week 1?
Well, which one? First of all, why they're going to be poopy butthole is because this team, first of all, I think they're, checked out. I mean, who are their elite players that are playing next game? Aaron Donald?
And Matt Stafford. But Matt Stafford
is
coming.
Elite?
He is if he's healthy, but we don't know.
We don't know. So, Jalen Ramsey, gone. Cooper Kupp, very elite, injured. So in general, this team, Sean McVay,
Bobby Wagner left back to Seattle.
Left.
He was rated the highest linebacker on PFF last year.
So
and Andrew Whitworth retired two years ago.
And Sean McVay, he's I feel like he's mentally checked out. I know he's not going to say that, and he's probably going to be talking about this year, blah blah. But I kind of feel like they're going to tank and be the worst team in the league and try to get a number 1 pick. I don't think they care about this year. I don't think Matt Stafford is going to play beyond this year. I don't know why. I just think they're going to be horrible. I really do. I think the Rams are going to be really bad.
Yeah, they're I don't know how the odds work exactly when it comes to where people are supposed to finish, but I saw the odds. I was doing a YouTube video about somebody on PFF said the Seahawks have a legitimate chance coming out of the NFC.
I agree.
And I went through the odds of the NFC team. I think Seahawks were 5th or 6th in odds to come out of the NFC. Fourth to last was the Rams. They were there with
the Cardinals, the Buccaneers,
and the Panthers.
And the Panthers.
I was going to tell you who. It wasn't a guess.
No,
I knew who they were.
I was guessing. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was It was Rams, and then Panthers, then Buccaneers, then Cardinals last. So they're going to be bad, not because of a lack of talent. They have a lot of stars on the team, but they have a very big lack of ability to have guys healthy right now and have a solid roster. I think they're also like the youngest roster in the league. So this just feels awkward. Sorry. the camera got me. I'm usually good at ignoring these things.
I know. Maybe it's because it's in a car, but
those on YouTube will see that George is recording my face.
Yeah, this is for our social media. we are our own social media team.
Yeah, we don't have a coordinator in the car with us taking our videos, but this isn't ESPN yet. So I don't want to be ESPN, but you know what I mean.
No, I know.
This isn't ESPN yet. The point is, at the end of the day, with the Rams, they're young because they have so many people that are in a situation that are either hurt or moved on, so they've had to use so much draft capital or they have to use draft capital that wasn't even good draft capital because of all the draft capital they gave up for that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so they're just going to have a rough season in general, but all in all, that's a good thing for the Seahawks. Right now, if you look at the NFC West, it went from a division that was probably one of the top one or two strongest divisions in football like 2 years ago, with Kyler Murray healthy, with the Cardinals supposed to be good. The 49ers always supposed to be good. Seahawks always supposed to be good. And the Rams were Super Bowl champions. It was like one of the top, either the hardest or second hardest division in all of football. Now you're looking at a situation where the Cardinals and Rams could be two of the worst 2 or 3 teams in the NFC. So the Seahawks have it a little luckier this year that we went from having the strongest division in the NFC to we could be kind of like that NFC East where you always had like, you know, the Washington football team at the bottom and the Giants were shitty for 5 years.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, you talking about 2 seasons ago, Rams, 49ers met in the NFC Championship game. The Cardinals were also in the playoffs. So we missed the playoffs that year.
With a winning record, I think.
With a winning, yeah. I think a winning record or like one game below 500, something like that.
It was before 17. I think it was 8-8 or
something like that. But yeah, we were right there. So it was the best division in football. Now, like you said, I mean, we're lucky enough where it's going to be. The Cardinals are a big question mark. The Rams and Cardinals could both end up with the worst record in the league. And the 49ers, even though they're really good, they got, you know, Mr. Irrelevant starting quarterback who should be good. Like, they're going to be good. I'm not going to say the 49ers aren't going to be good.
The 49ers should be the favorites to win the division, which because of their roster. Now, the biggest problem with this 49ers team is the fact that I don't know if they know that Brock Purdy is a long-term solution. I would not be shocked if Brock Purdy was bad for 5 games if they had to pivot to Sam Darnold. I'm not saying he's going to be, but it's hard to confirm that Brock Purdy's like the long-term solution. He has to do what he did last year, like come out of the gates good, or there's going to be all this doubt on him. That's where I think I understand the 49ers are the best odds in this division because of that roster, but the quarterback situation could be complicated. But the Rams, George, there's one thing. I agree they'll be poo-poo, stinky butt, whatever you called them.
I forget what I called them.
Yeah, stinky poo-poo butt. But they are that weird team that does have a chance if some things went right. If I told you that they're 6-4 and they're actually decent and Matt Stafford's healthy and Cooper Kupp came back and he's healthy and Aaron Donald's playing out of his mind, I wouldn't be as shocked. Like, I'd be shocked if the Cardinals came out of nowhere.
Right.
But the Rams have some pieces that would. I think I do think the Seahawks will beat them week 1, whatever. But they do have some talent on the roster where it's hard to completely count them out. They're not like a team. They don't have the like Carolina Panthers roster.
Right. No, I mean, in general, every year there is a team that comes out in the NFL that does shock people that they are this good, or a team that shouldn't make the play every single year. There's never been a year like I watched football where a team came out of nowhere to make the playoffs. And I mean, the Rams do fit that profile, as you were saying.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even call them a shock though, because they won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I feel like that would be like that'd be like the Falcons. Like, oh my God, they're good. That's a shock.
Well, that's everyone's pick this year.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying. But it's supposed to be their shock factor.
I guess if someone comes out of nowhere that was badly rated in odds and not really a shock, but kind of came out of nowhere or defied odds, there's always a team.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be the Rams.
I don't either. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I'm glad Kupp's not playing. I'm not glad about injury, but everyone says that Seahawks definitely dodged a bullet this week. That if Cooper Kupp is going to miss one game this year, if it's against us week 1, it's easier to defend that offense without Cooper Kupp there. But if he comes back, that team might be okay. I'm just in division rivals. You could be the worst team playing the best team in football. Sometimes division games just are harder because the teams know each other, the coaches know each other.
Division games can be wacky. I mean, a lot of times they're kitchen sink games. They call you throw the kitchen sink at the person. But I don't think this is the week, Sammy. We haven't really. I feel like we're talking about more of the Rams and 49ers. Let's talk about what do you think? Seahawks going to win this game, right?
Yes, but I was talking about this game. I'm saying that at the end of the day, I think the Seahawks are going to win, but the Rams, if we have to consider a guy like Matt Stafford, if he's healthy, is a very good quarterback. And when you're in a division opponent, I'm not saying a kitchen sink. A kitchen sink means you're throwing everything out there, right? I'm talking about they're just division opponents. There's 7 division opponent games a year. So there's
6, but yeah.
Yeah, 6, whatever. There's 6 division opponent games a year. The Rams are always one that there was times when they were in St. Louis still where the Rams were a shitty team, no quarterback, and the Seahawks were Super Bowl contenders and went in and lost.
Yeah, of course.
Because division games are hard, and that's what worries me about this game is that just Sean McVay's a good coach, something happens. But overall, if everything goes to plan, I think this could be one of the easier games on the Seahawks schedule just based off the fact that Cooper Kupp is out. Matt Stafford's first game, essentially, his first game in how long? What was he out all last year?
No, he played a lot last year. Probably since week 11, let's say.
Yeah, so it's been almost a year since he's played football. So there's a lot that should go the Seahawks' way. I'm excited to see this offense. That's the one piece I'm very excited about. The Seahawks offense. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's going to be as improved as the pieces show it could be, or do you think it's going to be kind of the same?
Yeah, no, so here's the thing. I wanted to, when you asked what do I think about this game specifically, and here's what I think. I think this is a game where we leave this game where, ESPN, Good Morning America, Good Morning Football.
I'm pretty sure Good Morning America ain't talking about us.
Maybe, if it's really, who knows? Actually, they could if we had 100 points, but we're not going to score 100. Colin Cowherd's show, the ESPN show, everywhere. We'll be talking about the Seahawks offense. I think we are going to be the team week 1 that puts the pedal to the metal and scores 40-plus points. I think it's going to be that type of performance. I think we're going to blow them out 41 to 17 or 41-10. I literally think we're going to blow them out, and we're going to have one of those games where the Seahawks offense looks absolutely like a world power. I think it was 98 season, one of my first seasons ever watching football. We started first week of the season against the Eagles and won 41-3. Warren Moon, Joey Galloway, and we ended up having a great offense our whole season despite having one of the worst defenses this year. I think we'll have that mix between good offense and good defense. But I have a feeling it's going to be like that week 1 game against the Eagles back in 98, 97. Someone can fact check what year it was, where we put up 40-plus points. The offense is being talked about all over, and random guys on waiver wires from our offense will be picked up in fantasy football. This team is about to put a huge ass whooping on the Rams, and going to be scoring a whole bunch of points in doing so.
I think the Seahawks have a tendency of not doing that week 1, and that's where I'm going to disagree with you, because even last year, for how good this offense was last year, they struggled to score. What was it? It was 18-15 last year against the Broncos, whatever it was. I think we've won 4 straight week 1 games. But I was going through them yesterday. I don't think we've scored over 21 points in any of those, or 25 points. And there's a reason for that, is who we have running our team. I think there's going to be a lot of running the football to start the game. I think there's going to be a lot of conservative, the way the Seahawks play. But that could still lead to 30 points, whatever it may be. The issue I'm having with the idea of 40 points is Aaron Donald is a one-man wrecking crew against our offensive line. Even if our offensive line's improved, he's been a one-man wrecking crew of the Seahawks many times. So I'm not feeling a huge blowout like that, but I do think the Seahawks will put up a decent amount of points and win this game. But I'm not feeling like a world-beating offensive explosion.
What's your final prediction score for this game?
Like 31-17.
Okay.
Yeah, like a normal win. That it's gonna be an easy win. I'm not saying like it's gonna be a hard win. And 31 points is a good amount of points.
That's a great amount of points. Yeah,
but I don't think it's gonna be like some over at halftime type of performance.
My final prediction for this game is 41-13 Seahawks.
When's the last time we scored for? We did against the Lions last year.
The Lions
last year. That was a game.
I just feel like people are going to come out of this game saying the Seahawks don't have one of the best offenses in football, and people are going to come out of this game saying the Rams might be one of the worst teams in football. That's why I think the narrative will be after the game.
There's also a couple things that it depends on, which is the health. I know Jackson Smith-Njigba is playing.
How healthy, we don't know, but he's playing.
2 weeks off of a wrist surgery. I know that through the entire offseason, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker both had to, during the preseason time, they both had to miss time.
Yep.
Now, if all those guys are playing to their full capacity and healthy, what you're saying is a possible chance, because now we have 2 very high-quality running backs, 3 quality receivers. We already have Disley and Noah Fant are 2 very high-quality tight ends. You never know. And the offensive line. I think one thing to go to your point of the way this offense can explode, everyone talks about Charbonnet coming in to add to Walker. Everyone talks about Jackson Smith-Njigba. And we got Jake Bobo now. There's a lot of added pieces. The part that I think is people are missing, because it is the NFL, and one of the most important positions is what?
Quarterback?
Offensive line.
Okay, sorry. So it's one of the most important positions. I just threw that out there.
All right. George has also not very good at multitasking.
Yeah.
He was recording something. He didn't know where my point was going. I mentioned quarterback. But the point was that I think the offensive line, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, are on year 2 now.
Yeah.
They were very good as rookies. If you get a slight improvement from those guys, the offensive line can be exponentially better, right? So if that happens, your theory of a insane offense, even in week 1, has a way better chance than happening than any other year, because if those guys have a slight improvement, this offensive line, is better than we've had in how long? Since the Super Bowl time?
Yeah, for a
10
very
years?
long time. And either way, whether or not, let's say this offense puts up 41 points like I'm predicting this week, I don't think, even if they put up 30 points or 24 and win, I don't think that's going to change my prediction. I think we're going to be a top 5 offense in the NFL. Either way, regardless of what we do week 1, we have the weaponry. I think Geno is going to end up being the second best quarterback in the NFC this season.
After Hurts?
After Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And just in general, I'm predicting that we come off to a hot start and we get 40-plus points. But if we don't, it's still not going to change, my season, unless someone, God forbid, gets hurt. Then that things can change pretty quickly. But now I'm just excited to watch this offense and see us cook.
That was a very abrupt ending. You said see us cook. And I thought he was going to keep going with something,
No.
That was just a very abrupt ending. I will say one other thing is we both think they're going to win. I think we both see this as one of our less threatening games, right, due to the Rams' injuries, age, coming off injury, Matt Stafford. You think, they might be somewhat checked out, which Aaron Donald wanted to retire. So did Sean McVay. They were kind of checked out after the Super Bowl. It was pretty clear. One thing that's really helpful for the Seattle Seahawks, and I think you mentioned the Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith could be the second best quarterback in the NFC. Despite giving Geno Smith $100 million, what I think is kind of been underplayed or under talked about is if he's as good as he was last year, or gets even better, that contract's actually one of the best values
in the
NFL for a quarterback that played as good as Geno Smith.
Right.
He didn't get Kirk Cousins money or Jalen Hurts money or Mahomes or even Daniel Jones got paid a little more of them because they're younger. They never had that bad part of their career. So if Geno Smith does play as good as he did last year or a little bit better, we're also talking about a team that has a great quarterback on a good salary, which is what a lot of times guys who win Super Bowls.
That's what you really want.
That's how you win Super Bowls.
Yeah. So he's getting basically a first-round rookie contract for being a veteran.
$20 million.
Yeah, which is for being a veteran quarterback. So that's why this team is so stacked. We should, as Seahawk fans, I think this team, like you said, like Geno being a little bit under. This is a very, very likable team. I know, like it's hard to say, like someone's underpaid, making $20+ million a year, but the story behind him making $20+ million a year and getting to this level is something that resonates with fans in general. So I just think this team is also likable, and to your point, because we have a quarterback at a very reasonable price to have a good quarterback, especially if he might not become the second best quarterback in the NFC, but if he's the fourth best quarterback in a conference, that's great.
Yeah, especially at that price.
Yeah,
because a lot of other guys, Matthew Stafford's getting paid a lot more, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts. You have Geno at that price. It's good. And like you said, it's likable not because he's making $20 million a year. Some people will be like, that's a lot. It's likable because he went from potentially being out of the league to the Seahawks giving him a chance to be a backup after he got punched by a teammate. He got cut as a starter for like 5 times. Yeah. And he went from being a backup, making like $900,000 every year, to a guy that overtook the Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like he took over his job and made $20 million a year. So it's a nice comeback story, especially for a guy like Geno Smith, who nobody really expected it for. I mean, I thought you thought the Seahawks were actually going to be good last year. I thought they were going to be bad, but I don't think either one of us could have imagined Geno Smith being like the second best quarterback in the NFC.
No, I mean, he was the highest rated quarterback in the NFL last year. I did not have that prediction. I know, I do like good predictions and some bold ones, but I wasn't bold enough to predict Geno be the highest rated quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I was not that bold.
Yeah, like nobody was
I
like.
actually thought Drew Lock was going to be the starter by week 4. And
we both thought Drew Lock was going to be the starter before even Geno got announced. Yeah. But you did think they were going to be good. I thought they were going to be bad. Overall, nobody, like you said, could have predicted. Nobody could have predicted that Geno Smith coming into this season would be getting paid $20 million a year because he was a borderline MVP candidate last year.
There was not one person on, and if you did, you must be Geno Smith's mom or related to Geno Smith, that would have predicted that every single ranking this year going into the season has Geno Smith as a higher quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and he's on a higher tier on everybody's pyramids.
If you predicted that, you're related to Geno Smith.
Yeah, or you're like maybe like John Schneider or PK.
Sure, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Even the receivers on the Seahawks, like DK and Tyler Lockett, were like best friends for us. There's no way they thought it. Like maybe John Schneider, but like he also probably was bullshitting himself. He was trying to save money, and it worked out.
Absolutely. And we don't own the Broncos' first-round pick this year, but kind of wish we did because I think they'll be bad again too. That's a different story for a different day.
We'll see. That one's. I feel like the predictions on the Broncos. I'm not even going to get into this. I'm just going to say she's a different story for a different day. But I'm going to just say I feel like everyone's either predicting like collapse or like they're going to be way better and like really good. I don't see a version where they're like 9-8.
No, they're not a 9-8 team.
No, it's either going to go really bad or really good. But we'll find out.
Season prediction for the Seahawks, just like number real quick. I know I put a YouTube, what we call a tap up on it, and I had us at 12-5. So
12-5 is a little high to me. I feel like it's going to be 10 or 11 wins, but I guess
I really like this team this year. I really do. I just think they're really, really good. And I mean, every single, I think, person who came out of training camp, like national guys, said that was the best training camp they've seen this year.
Yeah, that's a big testament. Pete Carroll does a good job at the training camps. And I mean, you got to consider Seattle is the best weather in America in the summer. So the crowd's out there. Yeah. There's just good vibes going around at the VMAC always in the summer. I'm leaning between 10-7 and 11-6, but 10-7 losses feels so like bad. A lot.
So but it's not.
I'll go 11-6. I know that's very close to 12-5, but 12-5 feels like what used to be like 13-3.
God, I don't know. I can't. It's gonna take me a few years to like actually like know what 12-5 means versus what, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When you asked for season prediction, I was thinking about like, okay, 10-6 is a good year, but now when I say 10-7, I felt like, that's good, but it's not.
I figured out like 12-4, but I'm gonna give them an extra loss. That's how I thought about it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Okay, I'll go 11-6, but I think it's gonna fall somewhere, in my humble opinion, somewhere between 10 and 12 wins. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I also gonna revert this back to what you said from the beginning. I also think they start 2-0 because if the Lions lost to the Chiefs, I think it would have maybe Lions start 1-1, Seahawks start 1-1. But now I think the Seahawks have a way better chance of beating the Lions. So I think 2-0 might be the move.
Okay, why not?
We'll be back Sunday night or Monday morning on the pod. So stay tuned, and we'll be back to you guys as quick as possible, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see us in a few days. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's on YouTube. At Seattle on Tap is how you find this page, and you can find that everywhere on social media: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. At Seattle on Tap, and you can look in the descriptions. We have a Mariners page on Twitter and Instagram as well. So if you're a Mariners fan, want specific content, find that. And George, what do you want to tell the people to do before we tell them? I know what you like them to do. Let's see if he knows what I'm asking.
Like 90% of people who watch YouTube videos don't press that subscribe button. So press that like and subscribe button. It also helps the algorithm. And leave a comment while you're at it.
And if you're listening on the pod, just like make sure you follow on Spotify or whatever. Leave a review, 5 stars.
Wherever you're watching, follow it.
Follow it. Leave a review. Do something. Help us. Help me.
Help me, and we'll help you with more Seahawks content.
There it is. We love y'all. Appreciate it. And now, George, you know what we like to say.
Thanks for stopping by.
Take care, guys. Peace.